Okay, Stevie, so tell us about Mantality magazine and what inspired you to do it.
Yeah, it's a weird one really. It's a weird story about it. But I guess about a year ago I found myself on a bit of a unique merry-go-round, kind of a cyclical career I'd been on. I've had two really big injuries, so I found myself getting injured, getting back from injury, playing well, having a bit of success. Might be like an appearance at Old Trafford or Wembley or something like that, and then I'd get another big injury and then have to do the whole thing again. And I've kind of lain on the physio table at about 8 a.m. And then I'd get treatment, I'd go through to the gym, do a bit of rehab. I'd be done for 10 a.m. and I thought there's something I can be doing that's more productive, that I can do with my time to help people. And at that time, I might have been suffering a bit of mental health. I was getting quite a bit anxious, suffering with a bit of anxiety. And I just thought I needed to do something. I needed to vent that drive that I wasn't getting through playing or competing, and do something to help people and try and change perceptions, I guess, that people have of sportsmen and of everyday people as well.
So Stevie, tell us about your own fight with depression. You've talked quite openly about it, but how bad did it get?
It was 2014 when I had to kind of look at it and kind of admit to myself that I wasn't feeling as well as I should have been, and I was depressed. And it's just kind of like just a fight you're doing every day. You try and go and enjoy life and do stuff you want to do, but I guess depression's kind of like a fight that you're having to do to try and enjoy yourself, and it's sometimes it just doesn't happen. That's kind of what I felt like in 2014, and a lot of that was because I hang my self-esteem on how I play rugby. I've got better with that, but looking back at 2014, I was hanging my self-esteem just on because I wasn't playing. But eventually, when I did get back playing, I wasn't playing to the perception that I had of myself and what other people thought I should be playing like. So I suffered, I struggled with depression and that fight to try and go and enjoy life and do what I always wanted to be doing. I mean, I was doing it in a sense. I was playing, but I wasn't playing to the best of my ability. So that's why I suffered, really.
Was it easy to talk about it at the time?
At the time, no. I'd not really gone and spoke to my teammates. I spoke to close mates around me from my school years and my family, and they kind of knew the deal, but I never really told my teammates. I kind of came in and just got on with it and just got on with the job. But I think that kind of culture's changing. If I can think of like a situation over the last few months, to kind of say it wouldn't have happened 2 years ago, never mind 5, 10, 15 years ago. Just one of the lads just came to me, and this is in front of other lads, and just said, "Oh, man, I'm not feeling great at the minute. I don't know what it is, I'm not feeling too good." And then other lads kind of jumped in and shared the conversation, and it was just something we talk about, and this is changing room talk. So, that's something that I guess when I started out a year ago that I wanted to start seeing, and I guess there's an immediate change around me, and I don't think that's all down to what I've done or anything like that, but it's definitely changing for the better.
How did the players react to you at first?
It's funny because I put the article out for the first that they ever saw it. It was at Magic Weekend at Newcastle, and I was, if you talk about anxiety or anything like that, for 2 days before that it went to press and before it went online, I was so nervous, and I guess there was so much fear in it. I was thinking, why have I done it, and I guess I was thinking back to a selfish way. I think, trying to preserve my own kind of, whatever it is, but I went onto the bus and I was imagining some lads to say something and to kind of, I don't know, have a bit of banter or whatever, but there's nothing. They've obviously read it online and they've seen it at the Magic Weekend and stuff like that, and there was nothing, and it was just normal. And I'd say the only people sometimes say to me, do people speak to you different now that you've said it as a sportsman or whatever? And I'd say the only way that people speak to me differently is they'll come to me and say, "Oh, my brother suffered with that," or my mum suffered with that all her life, or different stuff like that, and it just starts a conversation, an honest conversation, which is nice.
You talk about millennials on the online magazine, Mantality magazine. Do you think sort of culture is changing? You've touched on it a little bit already, but you know, the modern man, if you like, he's more open to talking about things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be daft to say that I'm going to be at the forefront of it and stuff like that, but I actually see like a bit of a tipping point where the millennial, especially the male, is approaching that tipping point, and they want to speak openly, and they want to share what they're feeling and the experiences they've had. So I see it's a really important time and something that we need to capitalise on and try and help people with, and to further and further it, and to remove that stigma. I just feel like this is a really big time where something's going on, and it's a special time for people to actually look at mental health in the face and admit that they've got a problem.
Mental Health Awareness Week this week, how important is that in terms of raising the profile?
It's massive. It is absolutely massive, and I just by purely having this Mental Health Awareness Week and by doing things like this, you know, that's something what I think, like you talked about millennials. It's like the millennial mind movement. That's what I kind of dub it. Just people being more aware, just doing more stuff around it, focusing in on what they can do to improve their mental health. And at Mantality, that's exactly what we're trying to do as a brand, and trying to support people through tough times, but also showcase the confidence and the joy that you can get from overcoming stuff like mental health problems.
There's lots of articles about other players, other sportsmen, and ways in which you cope with depression and things like that. Just expand a little bit more on that for us.
Yeah, we've done quite a lot. We've done quite a lot of bits and bats over the last year. It's coming up to a year that it's actually been out, but we spoke to Darren Fletcher about how he coped with his ulcerative colitis at Manchester United when he suffered with that. We spoke to Paul Wood, who was an ex-Warrington player who suffered with a great deal of depression and OCD through his career. And there's so many big names that we're trying to get involved, and people are just trying to get involved now. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. You know, there's SAS people that are getting involved, and different avenues we can go down. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what may come.
Do you think sport in particular, the mental health side of things, is more of an issue because of the nature of the game, where there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, it's all linked to performance?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one to look at, because a lot of the time, say, just take for instance a rugby player, they're always trying to maintain their physical status, and I guess they've got to be strong mentally. It's a well-known fact in rugby league. You've got to be strong mentally to go out there. But I think it's a different kettle of fish altogether. You know, there's players that it's 1 in 3. This fact is 1 in 3 that rugby league players can suffer, so they can go out onto a field and perform, whether they're depressed or whether they're fine and they're playing out there as well as they can. I just think that they're scared to admit it, because it brings the shame. You know, they're carrying a bit of shame around how they're feeling mentally, and it's very personal to them. You know, if you get a knock on the leg, someone else might get a knock on the leg, but your internal self-talk as a rugby player, as someone that's suffering mentally, it's your personal self-talk that's going on. So I think that's why people struggle to admit it, and I think they think that it's just them that has them problems as well.
Does more need to be done then to help sportsmen?
I think there does. I think across the range, and it's sport's a really tough gig, and a lot of pros and people that are playing it are involved in it. They don't realise it's such a short career, so that obviously can have an effect on someone where they may be tucked back as a bit of an anxiety for what they're going to do after, after they reach 30, 35 and stuff like that. And it is quite, you're on show, social media comes into fruition with it, and it can be positive, but also it can be negative. A lot of the things with sportsmen is we don't really know what effect social media and picking up that iPhone has. You know, daily, you can do it all day, people can sit on it all day, and you see it in the change rooms, and people isolate themselves through social media, and especially when you've got fans and outsiders putting their points of view on it. You know, we don't really know the effects. You can shake it off, but we don't know the statistics and science behind everything that's going on with that phone. But in specific sport, I think people can struggle a bit more just because of the high pressures and the high stresses, and I certainly found that when I was coming up through the ranks and I was kind of juggling my A-levels with being a full-time professional. I think the stress of having to achieve all the time, you know, sometimes sports people can just only be focusing on achieving and not actually enjoying what they're doing and right in the moment. So yeah, I think sports people can be more liable to suffering, but it's a broad range that people really need to look at.
And your online magazine, I mean, it's a platform for people to talk about this and to create that awareness and make people comfortable with talking about it.
Yeah, there's so much that goes on. We're looking at trying to create a bit of a community, a bit of a membership thing where people can go on and strive to be better and become a better version of themselves, really. But I'd say that Mantality is just that. It's kind of going through fear and in admitting it and fear in stuff like travelling. We do a lot of stuff with travel and bettering yourself and all broad ranges of stuff like that. So I guess it's a platform and a brand that's kind of sticking up for what's going on right now for the millennials and people that are trying to look for that different bit of content out there.